smarter bloke than me on many things, let's say all things. But what is Labor's plan to deal with all of this? They talked about cost of living ad infinitum, so the very obvious suggestion is they have to deal with it, but they can't set the prices of freaking lettuce.
Well, there is no... Look, Paul, there is no plan, to be honest. And you mentioned, talking about energy before, and I think this is going to be a disastrous policy for Labor, because they've promised, I think, to reduce household energy bills by $275, I think, by 2030 per year. Yep. And you've already seen household energy bills going up. And they've ruled out nuclear power, which Europe is embracing. I mean, Finland's Green Party even just embraced nuclear power. So even the Green parties in Europe are starting to realise that you can't achieve these targets without nuclear power. And if you try to do it without nuclear power, you end up like Germany and Denmark with extraordinarily high prices for energy.
Well, also, we've lived in a scenario where, fairly or unfairly, people are pretty quick to flip on a government. I think too many people have too much expectation of government. But the reality is the next 12 months, the next 2 years are going to be very hard. But that is also simultaneous with the Labor Party saying they're going to accelerate to renewables at 83%. That means billions of dollars have to be spent by the customer, by the government in that transition. They're just annoyed that the transition pain didn't happen for the last 10 years. Instead, it's going to be the next 8 years.
Yeah, well, look, the transition is just not going to happen. I mean, it's just basic scientific economic fact. The technology for batteries is just not good enough. You can't have a grid that is powered mainly by a wind and solar. It's just not scientifically possible at this stage of advancement. The batteries have to be too big. I mean, to give you a good anecdote, I mean, all of the batteries that the company Tesla produces in the US in 1 year, they would power the US for 3 minutes, right? Just 3 minutes. So, the amount of energy that is required is just absolutely enormous. And people don't realise that wind and solar can't provide it. You can have a bit on the edge, but it can't be 100%. So the transition is not going to be achieved. I can tell you that.
Yeah, put simply, what is the safety net? That's the question, right? So for some people, the safety net's coal. For some people, it's nuclear. For some people, it's gas. But you have to have the safety net. But under the stated policies, they don't think that they need a safety net. And now they're discovering that, it was good to win over dinner parties. But now in reality, you're going to need a safety net.
Well, look, it's just, most politicians don't know anything about science. It's all completely divorced from the actual scientific reality, let alone the economics of the costs. And I think we're seeing in Europe, the Russian invasion of Ukraine has injected an enormous amount of energy realism into the world now, but it hasn't seemed to lap up on Australia's shores yet. I mean, you're seeing huge changes in energy policy in Europe and the US, but seemingly Australia, the Labor Party is still in a 1980s mindset.
Well, and also, I always love this too. We're going to be more like Joe Biden with his 50% thing. He's just stated that. He has to pass it through the parliament, and it hasn't passed. Midterms will mean he'll have no chance of it passing.
Nothing has been achieved.
So he can just keep saying these things at meetings. Exactly. As you say, it's not going to be achieved. Adam, thank you so much. Lovely to reconnect, and I look forward to continue reading you in the Oz.
Likewise, Paul.